Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agent success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Denim. As a business owner myself, I personally know the importance of financial stability and preserving cash flow to help navigate through any freight market. With Denim's comprehensive service offering, you now have an all-in-one financial partner whose platform includes factoring, payments, freight audit, document collection management, and analytics, which help keep your business financially healthy and increase your team's time to focus on revenue-producing activities. You can also take advantage of Denim's free credit check, which they perform on all of your customers. And Denim will proactively reach out to you if they spot any signs of credit deterioration. Finally, Denim always pays your carriers first. As a broker, this is imperative to preserving your credit score in the market, which ultimately helps you become a broker of choice to your carrier partners. Are you ready to learn more? Visit denim.com to schedule a demo today. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is a Freight Coach podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. I got a very special guest for you guys here today. I'm going to bring him up in about 30 seconds. But, you know, the topic of our conversation today is going to be centered around, like, what do you do outside of work to kind of like really mentally prepare yourself, like the self-development side of entrepreneurship? Because all you see out there are people's wins, right? And wins are great, don't get me wrong, but it takes a lot of work to get there. And it's not just that. So it's like, I wanted to bring somebody on who I know puts in work outside of work as well to better himself, which ultimately leads to him leading a better company. So I got my man, Brian Hastings, back on the show. So Brian, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, Chris, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. Always enjoy the show, and always enjoy being a guest. So appreciate you having me.
No, man, it's easy to have you on the show because, like, I truly feel like you and I are kindred spirits, and we're on the same mission out there of like not settling for status quo and really finding ways to improve ourselves in every way that we possibly can. And, you know, earlier this year, dude, you finished a major race. What was that, by the way?
Yeah, so I signed up for an event. It's called 29029, and essentially it's the same amount of feet as climbing Mount Everest. And essentially what happens is I had a friend of mine that asked me to do it. He said, "Hey man, you want to sign up for this mountain hike? You get like 36 hours to complete it, and should be a good time." And I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do it." And he said, "Well, the tickets go on sale. I think it was like November 2nd, and they usually like sell out in 30 minutes. So you got to be like near your computer." So I'm like, "Oh shit, man, this is crazy. I gotta be on top of it." So I signed up for it. There was 4 months of training beforehand, And, it was, one of the most grueling, 32 hours that I, have ever been a part of. Just because it wasn't like a huge task. And I think that's what, you're getting at today, but it wasn't it wasn't just the top of the mountain every single time, but it was those small steps going up each and every time, going up the mountain. And now it took me like 32 hours to complete it, to get that 29,000 feet. And it was very grueling. It was very hard. But it's something that I'm definitely going to do again, but I might need a year off or something like
that. Yeah. So what was it for you, man, when you went out on your own and started your business? What was it for you that you were like, this is way more challenging than I thought it was? I got to fix some other areas of my life here if I'm going to make this work.
Yeah. You mean like entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing, and a lot of stuff that people don't talk about in entrepreneurship, is the mental weight of being an entrepreneur. And, you're never really prepared to take on, the mental weight of it, because it cracks in pretty much all the time, as far as your business and what it looks like. I think for me, I'm always a person that I've never wanted to have regrets. And I think that came from playing sports at a younger age. And, every coach and every teacher and every, person out there tells you, well, you got to put in the work, you got to work hard, you got to do the right things. And that that was ingrained in me for a long time. So, from a personal development perspective, I'm always trying to, better myself, whether that's, reading or physical fitness or, the mental side of it. Always trying to, figure out what works, what doesn't. There's sometimes where I'll read a book and it'll be a waste of time. And I'm like, man, why did I read this? Here I am. I spent, probably 10, 15 hours reading this book, and, it was a waste of time. So you live and learn as you get older. But that's something that, is kind of a mainstay in my life, here at the age of 41.
Yeah. It's, dude, I think that's the most, like that right there is the thing that I think surprises everyone the most when you're out there on your own for the first time, right? Because it's like the initial excitement will eventually wear off to where it's like, you're not just out here, you started this LLC, you realize like, shit, I'm not a millionaire instantly. Nobody cares about me, like, or my services. Like, I got to fight really hard for this. And then the problems start trickling in on top of that. And, I found Andy Frisella's content through Brent Orsuga, who's a mutual friend of ours.
Love Andy.
And it's so like, I started listening to his stuff back in 2020. And that's when I had heard him say, like, you got to work on your mind before you can really work on anything.
Yeah.
And that was like very transformative to me early on. And I feel like without really being on this journey for, because it's, it'll be on 5 years here in April.
Yeah. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. And if I didn't start working on myself, I wouldn't have made it as long as I have with it, because of the emotional roller coaster that comes along with it, right? Like, I heard the best line ever the other day describing what entrepreneurship is. They're like, entrepreneurs they have two emotions, euphoria and terror. And that's it. Those are the only two emotions that you face out there, because it's like, but you do have to invest so much outside of it, because again, like, in today's day and age on social media, hell, even in freight and social media, you scroll through LinkedIn, you only see a highlight reel, right?
Yeah,
and
always.
99% of it's bullshit, right? Like, statistically, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
But outside of that, though, if you're out there and you're like, where do I start? I would say you have to start with your mind, like straight up, like start picking up a book, start listening to a podcast. I will say this, like Andy Frisella's podcast, Ed Milet's podcast, those are two that I talk about often. I would start there. And a book, if you really want to start working on it, the best book that I've personally read on this is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That was like a very pivotal one. That's a book that I actually read every single year. But when I'm at work, obviously I'm at working, but when I'm outside of work, I'm working on myself. All right. Like, fortunately, I have an absolute gangster of a wife who's just like,
Yeah.
hey, I support you. Go do you.
Same here. Yeah.
But it's like, I go out there, I've had to completely retransform my entire self as a person. And, I'll be 2 years sober here in January.
Yeah, congrats, man. That's awesome. That's a huge feat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm down probably, let's see, 50. I'll be down. I'm like down 55, 60 pounds in these 5 years as well.
That's awesome. Holy cow.
But it's all about like going out there and working on it like every single day, and that's why it's like some of these programs out there. That's why I talk so highly on 75 Hard as well, is it's like, man, you just got to realize like, you just got to focus on today more than anything. Right. And especially if you're going to go out there and build anything or do anything, if you don't like, I have very massive goals, right? Like,
yeah.
hairy goals. Like, I am going to build the largest transportation company in North American history, right? That's my biggest goal. That's what I'm going after. And that's what I'm going to accomplish.
Yeah.
That will never happen if I don't make my 40 cold calls today, if I don't follow up with my current customers and my prospects and everything. So it's like, it's so easy to get out there and get caught up in the macro, but you completely overlook what's important. And that's your daily tasks.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think that so many people, where the lack of action comes in, and I think there's, fear kind of coupled with that. But, to me, if somebody is, wanting to get better on a personal development perspective from physical fitness or, mindset or reading a book or whatever that looks like, I think, yes, leading the largest transportation company in North America, I love that goal. Now, I think we have to dumb it down a little bit and say, okay, what are the small steps to get there? And it kind of, people don't think about this. And I think a lot of people, that fear of, I need to be at the top because I have to achieve X, Y, and Z, and I don't know how I'm going to get there. Well, I think we have to take it day by day and take it, one step at a time to achieve those goals. And I love this time of year. I'm one that, probably sets way too many goals from a, fitness, finance, faith perspective. And it is hard. And I think having those small steps and having those little increments every single day of reverse engineer what you truly want in 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, you have to do that. And trust me, like I go through it. I know that you go through it every day. It's those small steps on, the going to the gym. And, I see you on social media, you're at the gym, a lot more often than I am. Right. And I'm like, for me, like discipline and consistency are huge on the personal development side of it for me. But there are some days, man, I'll be honest, it's I'll miss the gym and I hate it and it pisses me off. And I know the next day I'll have to go back in there and get after it again. Right. So there's some weekends where it might be, my diet's garbage. Right. Yeah. And I have, some meal that it just makes me feel like hell. And, I'm like, damn it, Brian, what are you doing? Yeah. And then the next day or, that night I'll start buttoning it up. Right. So there are some times for me, I do whatever you call it, like fall off the wagon or whatever. Like I don't, fall too far off. I get myself right back on within, 24 hours or so.
What are some steps that because like this time of year, so I'm actually taking, as Robert Cowton put it, the 23rd through the 31st is so sporadic.
Yeah.
I'm taking that time to actually put together all of my plans for 2025.
Love it.
So it's like I go out there and I list off my goals for the year of what I want to accomplish, right? I have a business goal, personal goal, health goal, and there's some other ones that are kind of mixed in on that. And I give myself 12 months out there on the year, but then I look at it as, all right, what is something like, what's that actionable step that I have to take to accomplish a lot of those goals? So a big thing for me, so I'm actually going to publish or post out there my read list for the year, all the books that I've read, and then all the audio books that I've listened to, because I'm an audio guy through and through, but I also read books every single day, because like I've always struggled with reading, but it's also, it's like a muscle. The more you do it, ironically, the better you get at it. So I'm going to post all of that out there. So a big goal for me this year was 12 traditional books and then 12 audio books. And I've beaten both of those, right? So that's one that I'm going to do. And now next year, it's like, how do I ratchet that up? Because like, I feel like that's always a first step of like, if you want to find the right material, like what you consume is massive.
Yeah.
And I've just been doing this here for the last couple of weeks. So I don't want to make this sound like this is something that I do every day, but like I do not go on any social media platform but LinkedIn during my workday anymore. I started that December 1st, and it is massive how much more time you have, because it's not like you don't get caught up doom scrolling. So that's going to be one of my goals in 2025 is to not touch that at all, because it's like, man, I'm trying to consume or minimize all the garbage that's coming into my head. And I'm really trying to control that stuff, man.
Yeah. And I mean, you're absolutely right. I think even the personal development side of it, there are things like even, I've been to a couple of events, or I've been to a couple of, kind of like boot camps, or I went to one, or I've gone to one the past couple of years with my partner, Justin, and it's Ben Newman's boot camp. And essentially they're, the biggest thing that I love about those events is I'm in the same room as 50 to 100 other high achievers out there that are looking to get better, looking to have success, looking for prosperity. And I love that, right? Like I might be a kind of a conference or, boot camp junkie, but I love it. I love being in those rooms. I love being around the high achieving mentality. Those people that, are going to hold you accountable, and they're not afraid to fail, and they're not afraid to go out there and try new things. Even if it is a little bit risky. So those are the things that I love. I'm a part of a couple different, call them like mastermind groups or leadership development groups. And those are the rooms that I want to be in. And those are the events that I want to go to, or the groups that I want to be a part of, because I want to try to get better. Again, kind of like I said earlier, is, having a zero regret mindset, and making sure that I don't look back in 6 months and say, damn, I should have done this, or, I should have, made that call, or I should have, had that conversation, or, further that relationship. So I think those are things that, we always need to keep in mind, especially for those people that, want to achieve higher levels. And if we're honest, man, like I think everybody wants prosperity. And I think the people that, we all want to make more money. We all want to be in better shape. We all want to deepen that relationship or deepen that friendship connection. And I think the people that are out there that say, oh, that's not really for me, man, I call BS on that. Yeah. I think it's just, you have fear sitting in the way, or maybe you don't want to do the work to get to that point. And I'll be honest, like personal development, it is hard work. It is challenging sometimes. It takes a lot of discipline, and it takes a lot of consistency. But I'm telling you, I don't think I'm perfect, but I think that, I'm a lot better than I was, 10 years ago.
Dude, I'm right there with you. Like, I know for a fact, like if you haven't talked to me or seen me in the last 5 years, or the last 2 years, or even the last year, you probably wouldn't even recognize me anymore.
That's awesome. Kudos to you, man.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, though, man, it's like, this has been an everyday thing for me, right? Because like I knew I wanted more for myself, and that was the thing but I was scared. I might be the only person who's openly gonna admit that I was fucking terrified.
No, right? you and me both. I'll raise my hand. How many times that I started the business, back in 2020, and how many times within that first 12 months that I wanted to quit, or I doubted myself
every day, multiple times a day.
So yeah, for sure, man. I think that's you're not alone there.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, and even as a somebody who's a sales rep, or somebody who's out there doing, like, man, I still get nervous to make cold calls sometimes, because you just never know what's on the other fucking end of the phone. Right. Yeah. But it's like, after you start doing anything, you start to realize it's not as bad as you think. You just got to keep, and again, it's about controlling those controllables, but like, I want to look at, how does everybody set themselves up to improve, right? Because I feel like, you might not want the same goals, or you might not want the same things that I want, and that's fine. But like, you want to better yourself, right? Like, I lied to myself for so long. I've had to, like, honestly, I forget the podcast that I was listening to, but like, I've literally had to actually relearn who I was as a man and as a person over these last couple of years, right? Because I've never known sober me. All right. I've literally drank since I was like 16 years old. Okay. Yeah. So like for literally 20 straight years, man, I have never gone this long without alcohol until now.
That's awesome.
And it was actually, what was the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, I think was the name of the book. And I was listening to the author on a podcast, and he had said that he was like, I actually had to learn that, like, I'm not the life of the party like I was. And everything that he was saying, I was like, fuck, that's me. And I'm actually, because it's like, dude, I am like naturally like an introvert, right? Like I've always forced hey, somebody like me, somebody pay attention to me. And like now I'm just in a new position now where I'm like, man, that's like, dude, I'm cool with doing this routine that I'm in of doing the same thing like I'm flourishing in this, right? Because I'm the only person who knows where I was a few years ago. All right. And I had to accept that, like, my life was a dumpster fire because of me. And now it's been me working on this every single day to get to this point where my life is completely different than it was. But it all deduces down to those daily actionable steps of, like, when you realize that you fucked up, don't let it be 2 fuck ups in a row, like, hey, all right, I didn't do this day. Now I gotta show up and I got to do it the next day. Yeah.
And that's exactly it. And I think that, I don't think anybody's perfect, but I think at the same time, like I sent you a podcast this morning, and one of the ones that it was Ben Newman and Andy Frisella together, and they were talking about the power list. And if anybody on this call, hasn't heard that, there's I think it's episode 107. Yep, there you go.
I have
the power list journal. It's on Andy Frisella's website, but essentially it's 5 tasks that you need to complete every single day to move the needle. And I think it's very similar to, 75 hard. And I think some people, they look at it and they're like, man, 75 hard, that's a lot of days in a row. And I would just encourage those people to take it one day at a time. Or hell, when was the longest, or how long is the longest time that you've gone without alcohol? Or how long is the longest time that you've gone on a diet? And it's just like, okay, well, shit. I hear Andy say it all the time, but man, the most amount of days was 7 days. Okay, well, try it out. Do like a 21-day sprint, or do a 10-day sprint to see if you can do it. And then, even focus on that 10 days, because I think anybody can do anything for 10 days. And then, roll that into a 21-day, and then see how long you can take it. And I think even when we're talking about the personal development front, it is, small steps lead to big results. And I think that gets, you said it earlier on this on the show, but it gets so glorified on social media and highlight reels, and like, oh, we got the Inc. 5,000 best places to work thing, and it's like, damn, like, how long have they been working on that, right? I swung and missed 3 times in a row, and finally the 4th year after working on it for 36 months, and now they finally get that award. But that's all we see. We don't see, everybody in the trenches, doing the work to get to that point. So yeah, if you're a listener on the show today, I just, small steps warrant big results.
Dude, and it is as simple as that. It's simple, it's not easy. And I think that's one of another, kind of statement that really resonates with me a lot is what you need to do is simple. It's just not easy. All right. Correct. And I think that, ultimately though, with wherever you are, because like a lot of people, even this month, right? Like if you're already, like, if you just stopped working this month, again, I might not be getting a ton of results, air quotes, of sales right now. But guess what? The habit of me holding myself accountable to doing my calls every single day will pay off. And I will come out the door fucking speeding ahead of you into 2025, right? And, but again, like, this all goes back down to my daily tasks. So it's like the power list, for example, you brought up 5 things, right? Choose 5 things that are going to actively move your needle forward. Yeah. And if you're like, this is day 1 for you of everything, just stop yourself from doing the one thing that that you shouldn't. Like, I knew I shouldn't have drank every single day, but I did, right? Like, I knew I shouldn't have been eating shitty every single day, but I did, right? Start with one thing. And I think, like, that's the thing is like, everybody wants instant results, right? Like, and again, back to the whole social
media. That's a society we live in today. That's a society we live in today, is instant gratification. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's like, everybody, the instant results, instant everything, right? Like, you see, M&A activities going big out there in the world, for example. But did that founder actually make money from the deal? Or when they raised money, did they give away all their equity? And now they actually got 0 from that, right? It was a $20 million acquisition, but they actually made no fucking money of it, right? So it's like, we don't know the full story of that. We only know the headlines. So it's like, when you're going on out there, and again, anybody else's results are not your business, right? Like, I am so committed and focused on my business, my growth and how I'm doing that I don't really, it's not that I don't care or celebrate anybody else's successes. I want everybody to win. But ultimately, though, I got to fucking do me, because Brian's not going to fly out to Arizona and be like, hey, Chris, I'm going to fucking make all your sales calls for you today.
That's right.
Yeah. And I feel like that's it, once you can kind of minimize a lot of that, and then you just got to be honest with yourself. I put this post up the other day of the hardest conversation I ever had was with myself, when I had to look myself in the mirror and say, you're the fucking problem. All right. You're the fucking problem. Now, you might need to go get outside help, right? You might need to go talk to a therapist. You might need to go to AA. You might need to do other things. I didn't, because I'm too stubborn. And I said, no one's going to, because I just think I can figure it all out on my own.
Yeah, of course.
This isn't the right method for you. And that, like, there is nothing wrong with going out and seeking outside help from this. But I knew that if I was going to do anything, I had to find the way for myself to like actually figure out a way to do this. And now I have since got outside help in other ways, right? Like I have coaching. I worked with people over this time, but like I'm a firm believer that it's like, if I'm going to succeed in anything, I got to know what to do and what not to do myself. And then I know what questions to kind of ask when I'm out there and doing it, because otherwise I don't want to find myself a year into a program and then have no noticeable differences and then just be talking about my feelings all the time,
Right. Yeah, I think action cures a lot of things, especially when you're, hesitant or you're fearful about taking the next step. I think action cures a lot of it, where even if it's the wrong step, or even if it's a step that you're not sure if it's going to work out, I encourage people to take that, whatever it is. Maybe it's a small one. Maybe it is, even, with the fitness side of it, getting in the gym every day, or committing to working out 45 minutes a day, depending on where you are, right? Or create something in the basement. I mean, there's a million YouTube videos out there that I guarantee you have all body weight workouts that you can do in 45 minutes at the house, right? Yeah. So limit those excuses if that's your goal, right? If you don't care if you're 20, 30 pounds overweight, then, find a different goal that you want to try to achieve.
I'm going to call bullshit on everybody cares. I spent the majority of my life.
Everybody cares on what?
Fitness. Everybody wants to be in shape. All right. Yeah. Everybody does. I was overweight for the overwhelming majority of my life. Sure. And from my seat, my perspective, you guys, it's a different level of the way that I view myself as a man now that I'm in better shape, and I still got work to do. Right.
Yeah.
But I view myself in a lot higher light than I ever did when I was overweight.
Sure.
And I, again, back to just go for a walk. All right. Commit to going for a walk every day. I don't know what your level of fitness is. I'm sure my lawyer is going to say, consult with a physician, your physician. I'll put that disclaimer in there, but start with a walk. All right. Maybe it's 15 minutes. I don't know what that is, but you just start there.
Well, and I think, like you said it here about the fitness side of it, the benefits are just so astronomical for physical health, mental health, longevity, happiness, mood elevation, like all of it, where, why not make fitness or make physical fitness a part of your routine? And again, you said, okay, go to the gym 45 minutes. It's also on the discipline front. Don't eat that piece of cake. Don't eat those 3 chicken nuggets that are left over from your kid's lunch that are sitting there and they're you're about to eat them. Have discipline to say, you know what, this is not part of my routine. Actually pull back from, something that is not going to help you achieve that goal. So I think a lot of us talk about action. Well, what are we not doing? One thing that I think Ben Newman talks about is after he completed the 75 hard, challenge, he had a never do it again list, right? Yeah. Never do it again list was, I'm never going to have more than, 3 slices of pizza at dinner or whatever. I'm never going to have, or you're never going to do this again, which I think is genius, because I don't think we ever talk about that, right? Yeah. Where, the diet is, pretty much more, it's more than half the battle when you're talking about, fitness and diet.
Dude, I think it's 90% of my battle.
Yeah.
It really is. And, I look at it like this, because I know that, people are not always willing to be the first. But, and then in our industry in particular, industry conferences. If I'm at that one and you don't want to drink and you want to come work out, hit me up. All right. I'm not hard to find at a lot of these events. You can just say, I'm not drinking because I'm going to go work out with Chris. And he said, make me be the fucking asshole. I don't care, because it's like, I go and I follow this. So it's like, if you don't want to drink at these industry events, come find me. I'm not going to drink. I'm going to be working out. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be following my routine wherever I go. And, and then again, it's like, you're not alone in this either. All right. Like there is actually a large group of people who, and they're in my comments. I don't out anybody who reaches out to me that they don't want to drink. All right. They want to get healthy. They want to do these things. All right. I've gotten DMs from people who I got a DM from a guy here recently. He's like, man, I'm down like 40 pounds. And I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome. He's like, I was sick and tired of seeing you post your Lifetime Fitness thing every morning that I was like, I'm going to go.
Dude, awesome. Man. I love the fact that you can be an inspiration to that person, man. That's what it's about.
And that's exactly it, right? Like, and I've gotten that multiple times here. But and that's the thing is I just like, again, I'm just a regular guy. And I'm not going to speak for you, Brian, but I kind of feel like we're on the same wavelength.
I'm pretty much right there in the same boat. Regular dude.
We're just trying to better our lives and maximize this time that we have on our earth. And I have come to realize that the way I had lived for the overwhelming majority of my life was not the way that I wanted to continue doing that. And I had that but guess what? I'm not in the clear. All right. I'm going to be doing this every single day to become better every single day for the rest of my life, because this is not easy for me. All right. Building this shit up is not easy. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, because not only am I building a business, I'm rebuilding myself as a person along with this. This is literally the hardest fucking thing I've ever done in my life, but I'm just focused on today. All right. I don't care about tomorrow. I'm focused on today. I got a couple more items on my power list for today to complete, but that's all I'm focused on. And I would highly recommend everybody out there who's listening to this right now or going to be listening to this later, focus on today, be honest with yourself. And then you got to commit to the fact that it's going to be hard, but guess what? There are a lot of people out there who are doing hard things with you.
Mm-hmm. So true. And I think, anybody that's listening to the show today, take one actionable step. Not 15, not 25, not 32, one actionable step to what you want, and have yourself and set yourself up for future success. Just one actionable step away from this, show today. And I promise you that the version of yourself that looks back in the mirror 6 months from now is going to say thank you.
Yeah, straight up, man. But Brian, that's it, man. This is a quick 30 minutes. I feel like there's a lot more that I wanted to talk about, but at the end of the day, I know people out there are going to get value from this episode, and that's what it's all about, right? It's not about 10,000 people. It's just about that one person, those one DMs that I get from individuals. That's all that's why I show up every single day. It's like, that's what I feel like we're truly out here and we're meant to do is if one person listens to this and then in a couple of months I get a DM about it, I hope that's all. Like, that's how we change this shit, man.
That's the mission, man. That's the mission. And I feel like me and you have the same viewpoint there. So, awesome stuff today, man. I really appreciate you having me on the show, and, always, great to catch up and, talk more about personal development, which, I could probably talk for days about it. So.
I love it, man. Well, hey, that's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back on Monday. As always, if you got value, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network, because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.